Perfect. We are recording to the cloud. Sandra, you are the co-host. We have 9 people in the waiting room. I'm gonna go live.
Roy, by the way, can I delete
We're
everything?
live. Most old ones.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I think we are live. I think I see the chat buzzing. If you are here and you can hear me, please please say hi in the chat. Nope, I don't see anyone saying hi. Sandra, can you hear me?
No, I cannot hear you or see you.
That's why we do that before. So I did go live in the stream.
But if you went live, your camera should be turned off here.
Maybe you're right. I'm just gonna refresh. Sandra, because you had started it, I wonder if you're the one who needs to be
Don't think.
reconnect to continue streaming. Connection is good. The stream is on, Sandra. I think you are the person who needs to start it. لأنه أنت بلشتيها امبارح ما وقفتيها.
لا مثل ما مبينة عندك مبينة عندي. The same thing.
Reconnect to continue streaming. بفهم. Can someone see me?
No.
Hello? I'm sharing my screen. Can someone see my screen?
No, we cannot see anything yet. It's still saying waiting for cans.
I'm gonna exit and enter again. خليك على الواتساب معي.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you Sandra host because I don't want to drop the Zoom. You're the host. And please double check if it's recording.
It is.
How is the sound? Roy, or Sandra, when Roy and I are speaking, are we about the same volume?
Yeah, the volume is very good.
But we're similar volume as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh, he's no longer on. Okay. It's a pet peeve when I attend like Zoom events or virtual events where people have different volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And press end stream.
We can see you now.
Yeah, I'm back in Zoom.
Oh, you're back.
But I'm wondering why is it that the stream disappeared?
Do you want me to try from my end?
Yes, please.
أعطاني نفس الشيء reconnect to continue streaming.
streaming.
In Zoom, can you make me? There are 24 people who entered, so we can run it in Zoom, and I can send a campaign for everybody else, but it's gonna we have
Roy?
to let them know. Yes.
Found something. وتقول لك reconnect.
Yeah.
If you go right, you will have reconnect.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, because I just did, and then it showed me to. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, but this is the one scheduled for August 19th. I don't want to go
no,
live
no.
on this one.
Go back to manage. بيسطي الوقت بدك ترجع ترجع تفوت.
Google products. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 18. I don't see.
This is 18. Yeah,
And it's
this is
saying
today.
upcoming is the second. This is pitch decks.
This is today. This is 18.
I understand, but this one says the pitch decks. This one's for X scheduled for the 19th. كمان مرة.
That's weird. أنا باين عندي نفس الشيء by the way.
I don't understand why does this one appear as upcoming, so it doesn't show the past ones. There's something wrong on Google's front. They dropped our stream that we were working on. They're not showing it. This is the upcoming one. This is not upcoming. This one is for August 2. This was.
Why does it say live now?
I don't know. We didn't press this one.
But it says it's been live for 5 minutes to the right of live.
But it's not streaming. Okay, one thing we can do is move everybody to the Zoom. I'm just going to reconnect this one. And I can click go live, but it's not the one. This is the schedule for the 19th. I don't want to press go live. I don't know why it says live. It doesn't make sense. The streaming product of Google is a little bit off. And it doesn't show the past ones. So one thing we can do is, because it's not showing, the other one disappeared, simply put. 1 to 2 of 2, the other one completely disappeared.
Was it there earlier this morning?
Yeah, it was earlier, half an hour ago, 20 minutes ago.
Oh, wow.
We were in it. We were going live, and I was trying to speak, but then Google was removing us from it. So one thing we can do, we have 24 people in the waiting room, so we have enough to give the workshop. So what we can do, Sandra, is share the link of the Zoom room to everyone, but do it in a Google Mail merge.
So everyone who participated in the hackathon?
If you can get the people who clicked on the link in every community, the people who clicked on the link in the community, so it's like 6 or 7 communities, because I'm going to moderate it starting in 2 minutes. Take every community, 6 or 7, get the list of the people who clicked, put them in one mail merge, and then invite them to the Zoom. We have up to 1,000 people in the Zoom. So then we'll get the people who actually weren't just invited, but the people who clicked on the link, which means that they have it in their calendar. They're the only ones who would know what the link is.
All right.
Okay? And let them know that we're going to use the exact same link tomorrow as well.
Can I do something else as well?
Yeah.
Can I leave a comment on the YouTube video saying that please join us through the Zoom
Yeah,
link?
of course, of course, of course. But if you can get to it, I don't have access to that YouTube video. It disappeared
Yeah,
on.
I can.
You
And I
can.
can see people are still dropping comments saying nothing happened.
Excellent. Excellent.
Still
Perfect.
3 minutes. So I'm
Move
gonna
everyone.
put
How
this.
many people are on YouTube?
Now they disappeared. I cannot say anything anymore because we're not live. But I can leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Okay?
Do both.
Yeah.
Patricia and I, we have 24 people, enough for a 2-hour workshop. So we'll be good to go. Okay. So Sandra, you bring the audience. Patricia and I will work with the participants in Zoom.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen now. If
Yep.
you, okay.
Okay. No need to share yet. I'm just gonna do a quick intro, and then I'll let you share, Patricia.
Okay, stop
Actually, this is
share.
not bad. Yeah. Either way, both are good.
Okay.
Your screen is good. Either way, it's fine. All right. I'm gonna admit everyone, and Sandra is already in the background doing her thing.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So there's 26 of us. We're gonna go down because now we're in Zoom. It's we were having difficulties with the Google live stream program, which just poof disappeared on us. So everybody who's in the live stream is going to be invited to the Zoom. And I'm going to mute everyone right now, or just mute yourselves. And because in the Zoom it's going to be just slightly different to be able to control everyone and things like that. So we are in complete luck today. We got introduced to Patricia Liu, who has been introduced to us from a VC that has backed Ken's. And when I spoke to Kasha, she told me Patricia is the best person I know. I spoke to Patricia and told her what it is that we have created. And Patricia was just amazed by the talent that we have. And she said, I'd love to be able to potentially coach up to 10 people. And I told her we can do something more focused. We have a wider group of people because this is how we do things. It's just all workshop style. So we're going to have 2 sessions of 2 hours, today and tomorrow. The session of today is going to be focused on, as an entrepreneur, how can I walk into a room when there are investors or potential clients or people we don't know and we want to get to know, and communicate in a way where they're going to care about what it is that we're talking about. How do you simplify your message and not ramble in a way that's impactful, the hook? And tomorrow, at the same time, we're going to say, okay, what if we did go to this networking event and they did like what we do and they said, hey, let's meet next week at this time. Please come and you can pitch to us, and you've got a pitch that you can give. Tomorrow is going to be less workshoppy, just because there's a standard frame. There's going to be a lot of slides to go through because there are ways in which a protocol that they're used to when they see so many pitch decks. And so knowing how to communicate through a presentation, through a full-on story, is necessary for them to understand and give you the headspace. But today is more free-flowing. A lot of you are going to unmute when invited in order to present your idea, and Patricia is going to help you with it. Patricia, because I'm going to give you a little bit, I'm not going to do justice to Patricia's background. So I'll let you, Patricia, give more of that introduction for yourself. But Patricia is co-president of the MIT Angel Network in Northern California, but she has had many illustrious careers before that, including being a top chef And so coming into the investment world from a completely different background is exactly the kind of perspective that allows someone to not to know how to think critically about a particular problem and know how to help and support people from different backgrounds, because she comes from a different background herself. Just to make sure that we have our reactions, because we love our reactions in our hackathon. Everyone, if you could please leave a heart to make sure everybody's with us. Yeah. Awesome. And on this note, Patricia, welcome to the club. Over to you.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, actually, 1 second. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. So thank you so much for joining for this networking pitch workshop. And by way of introduction, I'm a startup pitch advisor and founder of Venture Ready Pitching. I work with top-tier startup accelerators, advising founders on clearly pitching the venture scale potential of their company. I also teach pitching across the Stanford ecosystem, and as Roy mentioned, I lead MIT Angels. We're a group of 700 angel investors, all MIT alumni. So founders know the value of a strong networking or of a strong pitch, but undervalue the networking pitch. And that's what you say when you're first introducing yourself at a networking event, conference, or even chance encounter or a cold email. But this is where a lot of the high value connections often happen. I can't tell you how many times where I meet someone and they later on remember me and introduce me to someone else, like in the case of my meeting Roy. And so is your networking pitch captivating enough to spark curiosity, invite deeper conversation, and stay memorable weeks later? And my definition of the networking pitch is the 50 words about you and or what you're working on that the other person would find interesting, noteworthy, or memorable. And where it's generating interest, where the other person's ears perk up and it sparks conversation where they can't help but stay and want to talk to you, want to learn more, and remembers you when you follow up later on or when they're making referrals. And you're not easily forgotten by the time that that person meets 20, 30 people at the event. And I say 50 words because even when you speak for half a minute at an event, it seems like eternity, especially in a crowded, noisy kind of event, things like that. And people have very short attention spans. So I say 50 words is kind of this good, very good sweet spot. And this is not an easy task because it's the ultimate distillation of what is magical or different about you or what you're working on. And so it does take some effort, but in the end, this is almost like the kernel of you thinking about what you're going to do for your pitch, because this is like the starting point, thinking about what is so different and so unique and memorable, attention grabbing about you or your company. So it needs to be easy to understand and memorable. You want to be concise and sufficient. Use simple everyday words, simple sentences, because those longer words, formal words or long sentences are just speed bumps for people to understand what you're trying to say. And you want to sound conversational, dynamic, friendly, vibrant, because it is a more casual environment where you're talking about yourself. You want it to adjust to the audience or event. So if you're at an event that's more industry specific, then you could use a little bit more jargon, industry specific words. But then if you're at a more general event, you want to adjust your language accordingly. And when you're thinking about how do you come up with a networking pitch, think about how your friends or colleagues introduce you. and what are the facts they say about you, because that often is what stands out. And so, for example, when Roy introduced me, he mentioned that I've had several careers in the past. I was a chef. So those are kind of things that stand out. So when I introduce myself, I don't say this in the first uh, networking pitch, but when people stay and talk to me, I work that in almost right away because it makes me memorable and different. So today, when I introduce myself, this is in essence what my networking pitch was. And it did take some time to think about what are the things I want to say about myself in a way that conveying the right things I want them to know about me. I tell them what I do, who I work with, and I find important, which is clearly pitching that venture scale potential of the founder's company. And then I mentioned I'm teaching at Stanford, and I talk about being co-president of MIT Angels. And that last sentence there, I want to just kind of double click on that. Just those a few words are telling you a few things about me. I'm an MIT alumni. I meet the government's regulations for investing, and I'm an angel investor, and I seek leadership positions. So all of the sentences and all the content I said in my networking pitch were very intentional. Just like novels are harder to write, or poetry is harder to write than novels, the networking pitch, you will find that it is very hard to condense everything that you're saying into these 50 words. And in my mind, after I say my networking pitch, which is, saying a lot of different things about me, I already know the second tier of things that I might want to say after that. So in my mind, I've already designed out kind of the layers of additional content I want to give if when people stay and talk to me. Now I want to move on to the workshop portion of the session where you will practice your networking pitch. So I will stop my screen share now.
And what I'm going to ask for everyone is some of you are going to come up and practice with Patricia. And I'd like everybody on the call to prepare your 50 word about you and what you're working on so that when you're called upon, you have it ready. So use the next 1 hour and 49 minutes, assuming we're going to say all 2 hours, to do that. To make sure that you have it, you get a second refinement as you listen to somebody else. You can refine yours a little bit as you hear something that stands out. So everybody take that homework as you do, and once you have created yours, I don't know if anybody can chat with everyone, but if you can, because it's only 40 of us, don't chat too much. Just say, just paste yours in the chat. This way, we can go and include people, and then we can see things refine over time. And at the end of that session, everybody's going to repaste theirs. This is more of an exercise of listening than of actively participating. So, Hamad, if you have a question, share it with me in the chat, just so that we don't go into a Q&A. So this does not become a Q&A. So share it with me privately, and then I'll try to answer if I can. Back over to you, Patricia.
Okay, so if anyone is ready with a pitch, or just introduce yourself, and then we can go from there, that's fine. We can also ask Roy to give his networking pitch. You start
Absolutely.
with that too.
Happy to start with that. Am I on mute? No, I'm not on mute. I can start with mine. I run Ken's. We make companies AI ready in 1 week. In July, with Saudi's Ministry of HR, we set the Guinness World Record for the largest AI training in history. 14,000 people learning at once, 25,000 trained across 170 countries, and 4,500 applications published in that week. Company adoptions jumps from 25 to 65% plus.
Okay. Great. So, Roy, I think I remember you're a serial founder, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So, I would include that very early on,
Mm.
and I would probably even start with that because that immediately gets someone's attention. And then, so, hi, I'm Roy. I'm a serial founder, and currently I'm working on Cannes, and where we recently hosted a hackathon that broke the Guinness Book of World Records. So these facts immediately get someone's attention and then go into additional information. Now, Roy's example there is a very good example of what people often tend to do, which is give a lot of numbers.
Mm.
And so a lot of numbers can seem very overwhelming and hard to track. So if you have some stats that you want to give, especially in a networking pitch, try to limit it to one or two, but the most impactful numbers. Because think about this, imagine you're at a party and you're giving this thing, what Roy just said. It will be hard for the other person to even hear everything that he's saying. So they'll only catch glimpses of that. So just keep that in mind when you're introducing yourself. And they don't have a slide or anything that they can see all the numbers and all the facts. So try to keep it very simple in just a few facts or even just your sentences. Keep it to just simple words, simple sentences so that people can follow. Yeah, but Roy, very good. I think so. All of you know Roy's background, so that's why I said if you start with serial founder, because if you think about who's in the room, it's a very small percentage of people who have will have been a serial founder. You were exited, right? The last company exited. So again, that's something very rare. I'm a serial exited founder who is still working on Cannes, my next startup, which recently we hosted a hackathon that broke the Guinness Book of World Records. And then think about, and that's already maybe 15, 20 words, and then 30 words to fill that. I would say maybe 20 words to fill that. And then the last sentence being what you're looking for. If you we're currently fundraising or we're looking to connect with blah, 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 this kind of person. So kind of a very short call to action, what you're requesting so that people, and don't say something like, we're looking for partners, people to partner with us. And that's really hard because you're asking the other person to then extrapolate and figure out who you want to partner with. So be very specific on your ask. We're looking to partner with companies of this size or such as XYZ so that people can start thinking about it because the person that you're talking to may not be the right person
Mm.
to but they know someone who they can introduce you to. And I've had a lot of times where I met someone, we had a great conversation, they learned about me, I learned about them, and then weeks later they said, "Oh, I know this person who might be a great fit for you." And that came about because, yes, the networking pitch was memorable or attention grabbing enough. It sparked that conversation where we had a great conversation and they remember me weeks later. And then they referred me to other people that then turned out to be the great connection that I needed.
Yes, thank you. Now, for everybody who's in, so now there's about 100 of us here. If you have your 50-word intro, put it in the chat, and then I'll call on everyone just so that we don't speak over one
Yeah.
another.
And if there's someone who just wants to introduce themselves, we could start there too, because is there for us?
We could, but we might end up with just that, like just all intros. I think you're gonna
Yeah,
start
and
to see in the chat the flows.
yeah, and that's the point. It's intros. So just
Okay.
introduce yourself, and then
Okay.
we can take it from there. Yeah.
Feel free to unmute and introduce yourself.
There's a few people with raised hands.
Sherwin, and then Firas.
We'll give it a try, right? That's why we're all here.
Yep.
Apologies, I didn't realize I was wearing a tank top today. It's really hot, and it's
No, all
10
good, all
p.m.
good. You're probably
in Vietnam.
in
No
Vietnam.
offense to anyone.
No worries.
All right, so I just put together a few words, I guess, that I took from my LinkedIn. I'm not really a big pitching person, so I'll just throw this out and see what it sounds like. Thank you for doing this. All right, so my name is, well, never mind my name. I'm a learning guide and technologist focused on bringing to life a forever free, human-centered learning platform. My guiding question is, how do we make a quality life accessible to everyone, free of misery, aggression, manipulation, envy, and greed?
Okay, great. So a few questions. So what was really intriguing was your main question, when you were saying this is a question that drives. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Sorry, everyone. I muted you, Patricia, by mistake, because a lot of people are on mute, off mute, and there's there could easily be background noise. So I'll ask everyone to mute and then use the hand raising, and then I'll call on everyone, just so that we can have, a quieter space. It'll be a lot easier, because now we have about 12 people who unmuted. That's 12 potential background noises.
And then if you make me a co-host, then I'll appear at the top of the list, so you won't accidentally mute me. So what I was saying is that if you swap that and say this is a question that you're focused on, that's very intriguing. And then saying, with that, I am now building blah, blah, blah. But let me also ask you, what was your previous career, or what were you working on previously?
So the I thought I had a line. Oh yeah, I deleted that. So I'm a mix of ed tech. I was in IT for 17 years and education for the last 10.
Okay. And instead of saying how long you were doing something, everyone, talk about the accomplishments that you had. So you built a team from this big to this big, or you built you helped drive revenues from this to this. So can you say a little bit more about specific accomplishments?
I can try to say I sat on both sides of ed tech. This is where I normally this is what I have on my LinkedIn profile at least. I have now sat on both sides of ed tech and
Jericho, it's gonna be hard if you allow everyone to just talk. I know that, and so it's Sandra, can you make Patricia a co-host so she's at the top? And everyone, please mute yourselves if you could, please.
Okay. Hi everyone. I will try one thing, and then Patricia and Joy, please unmute yourselves as well.
Okay.
So, is it Charbel? Okay.
Charbel isn't muted. I don't know if he can unmute himself, but it's
You're on
Charbel.
mute. Charbel.
I unmuted him.
You're on mute.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So think about instead of how long you were saying, think about the actual accomplishments. Just like if you're writing a resume, or you're on LinkedIn writing what you've done, it's not primarily how many years that's the driver, but what did you do? What were your major accomplishments? So, and think about, this is where you're at a party or you're at a networking event, so it's more casual, and so you want to sound conversational, and you want to sound friendly and just very casual. So if you want to work on that and then come back and try again, we can work with somebody else. Yes. So,
Let's
Roy,
open it to
who is
Firas.
next?
Hey, Firas is next, and then Zainab.
Okay. Go ahead.
I've asked Firas to unmute.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hi.
Do I need to open the video camera?
I
It's
personally
okay if you
recommend.
don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I generally recommend because when you're in front of someone, the whole what do I do is there. So it's the same thing.
Yes, of
But yes,
course.
over to you.
Can you see me?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
All right, just one moment, please. All right, I'm Firas Saif. I founded Mowal. We're a Saudi platform connecting early stage project owners with individual investors.
Okay, wait. So
Yes,
please speak slower so I can actually catch. You're a Saudi startup, and then I missed the last part.
yes. So my voice is clear. Just talking too fast.
Yes, it's clear. You just need to speak a little bit slower.
Of course.
Yeah.
My name is Firas Saif. I'm the founder of Mowal. We're a Saudi platform connecting early stage project owners with individual investors. Founder list what they need. Investor take defined slots, and both sides move through a verification and digitally documented agreement. We are at pre-launch and came out of the Garage Challenge, where we signed a sum of the founders there. And we asked anyone to sign up with us. Happy to talk to anyone with founders in their network or investors. And thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, I think that was a little bit more than 50 words. And I'll talk more about this tomorrow. But if you have a startup in its early stage, the most important thing is actually you and the team. So, keep that in mind. By far, the investors or people are more focused on who you and your team are. So just keep that in mind. Also, sometimes, for example, one of my former Stanford students, he has a startup in the elderly care space. And then but he has as his investor advisor, he has the ex CTO of Palo Alto Networks and the ex co-founder of AWS, which are really amazing people. And to say that you have these people as your investor and advisor, so it has nothing to do with his elderly care space. But I recommended that he include that in his networking pitch because that immediately gets someone's attention. So when you're thinking about your networking pitch, think about what it really would stand out about you or your company, what you're working on that will get someone's attention. It's not always that direct path that's a best optimal path to from A to B. So think about instead of just saying blah 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 blah, which is a little bit hard to understand in terms of follow if you're trying to figure out you've just met 20 people. Think about how do you ease into this and then what do you say from the get-go that is going to stand out. So let me ask you, what was your previous career?
I'm actually still an operational specialist at Majid Al Futtaim, which is in the retail business. Yes.
And then is
And
that a big
I'm still in the
is
pre-launch early stage with Momowal, still building it.
okay. So in the retail space, is that a very big company?
Yes, in Saudi and the UAE, it's a very big company.
Okay, the one that everyone would know. Is that correct?
Yes, uh, uh, it's the retail business for furniture and clothes. We have like CB2, Crate and Barrel, and Abercrombie and Fitch.
Okay. So that's amazing. So you should start with that and say, and then what do you do there? You're in operations, you said, right?
Yes.
And what is the one key accomplishment that you are most proud of from your time there?
Mostly handling like big problems with the supply chain, and also with
Okay,
our
wait.
friends in
So
logistics.
okay, so with the supply chain, is there any number that you can kind of quantify what you're dealing with?
I can quantify with the VIB customers that we have, and we solved their problems quickly. So mostly the customer side of my operation job.
So can you say, like, give me a number of
Like
customers or how much throughput or something, or revenues, something about what you've done?
so with VIB customers, we usually face some problems with big orders. So I made like a simple plan, which saved us in the first year like 200,000 reals. This plan is like an Excel sheet with specific VIB customers and their big orders.
Okay, so stop with that. So I would s- you I would start with that. Say, hi, I'm Faraz. I work at so and so. This right, sorry, I didn't catch the name, but oh, this is where I work, and I work in operate I work at such and such in operations, where I'm responsible for handling the operation or in working with VIP clients, and I've developed blah 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 uh uh a solution that saves 200,000 whatever, and then I'm now working on XYZ. So then you've established yourself as somebody who already has a lot of experience at a very well established company that people know. And then you say the new thing, and then you're saying, and then make your last, what you're working on, much more concise. I would say just a few words, because you don't need to say everything about it. You just want them, the whole goal of that networking pitch is to spark that conversation where that other person wants to stay and talk to you. So you don't have to say everything. You just need enough that they say, oh, this person sounds interesting, or this person sounds like they've done a lot. Well, I want to stay and talk to them and ask some more questions. So then you say, for your situation, I would say a little bit about what you've done, and then give them one stat that is amazing about what you've done, and then what you're currently working on. And what was your ask? You did say you have an ask. I remember in your pitch you were looking for what?
Founders and individual investors, because this is the point of our
There's
platform.
in early stage founders, I think you
Yeah,
said
yes,
earlier,
correct.
right? Yeah,
Early
so
stage and
you're
pre-launch
looking for
rounds.
early stage founders and investors who invest in early stage.
Correct.
Yeah, um that's kind of like your networking, the outlines of your networking pitch. So if you want to work on it and then come back and practice again at later on in this session, feel free to do so. Okay,
Of course.
thank you.
So just to summarize, so for a pitch in an early stage website, well, I need to focus on the experience, and after that, a small pitch about the website I'm building.
No, it's a harder question. Please join us tomorrow
Of
to
course,
hear.
no
I
issue, and
will
thank you very
be
much.
talking a lot longer about the actual pitch, and it's really thinking about, but the same concept applies. Thinking about what is most notable, attention grabbing, or memorable about you and your company or what you're working on, starting from there. So that's the same whether you're doing a networking pitch, a sales pitch, a fundraising pitch, recruiting pitch, all of that. You need to think about what is most attention grabbing, noteworthy, and memorable about you, and that's different about you, and then starting from there, so you get that person's attention whoever you're talking to, and then building out from there. Okay. And that's going to be different for everyone. So that's why you need to think about what that is for yourself. Okay, who's next?
I've got, so for everyone, so the next person is Zainab. If you could please unmute yourself. And for everybody, like we're saying in today's session, it's very, very dynamic and fluid. The idea is you may have like, you know, a moment where you can share and get feedback from Patricia. But in any case, share your 50-word and refine it every single time with every single feedback that you're getting either from Patricia or something that you've learned from someone that you're listening to. So treat every feedback session, and I put the order Zainab, then Elijah, then Maroon, then Sharif. I put every, so just make sure that every round is an opportunity for you to refine. So if we end up going through 10, 15 rounds today, you get 10 or 15 refinements. This is not a pitch for 30 minutes. This is, what is that first sentence or two sentences that you're going to tell someone if you meet them at a networking event, or you meet them in an elevator pitch, or someone that you want to impress so that they can remember you. It's not about them putting their investment in you. That's tomorrow. Today is about them remembering you. Hence, Patricia's comment about what is the start with the most memorable thing about you, and then build from it.
And you keep in mind that oftentimes it's about those chance encounters. I've met people who turned out to be great connections in the women's bathroom. You know, we're washing our hands and we would just start a conversation. But I had my networking pitch ready to go, and it was conversational. I'm not giving a formal, strict and professional spiel in the bathroom, but I'm just having a conversation, talking about myself, but very much intentional about what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Yes, while I'm washing my hands in the bathroom, but that person then wanted to stay and talk to me and learn more about what I'm doing, and they turned out to be great connections. So it can be anywhere that this happens. So this is why it's so important that it's conversational, casual, friendly, easy to understand, and you have it ready to go. You know it very well, that you have it ready to go anywhere, and you can just start talking. It's not a recorded blah 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 blah, but it's like dynamic and vibrant. You're just having a conversation, but it's a very intentional conversation, or what you're saying, so that people know, get to know you. Okay, you said Zainab is next.
Zainab, over to you. And for everyone, I've put also in the chat Patricia's own introduction so that you see it at the top of the chat so that you can use that. So for example, Rizqi, I saw your message. It's long compared to Patricia's. Mary's, it's a bit better. Talal, it's actually quite concise from a length perspective. Zainab, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you can unmute. Over to you, or else we'll skip over to the next person.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're here. Beautiful.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Patricia, for giving us this opportunity. So, where I understand that I have to introduce myself without diving deep into my project, right?
50 words.
Yes, like we met at a party. We're meeting at a party. And so I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Patricia. What's your name?
Hi, Patricia. It's so lovely to meeting you. I am Zainab Abdelhamid. I am PMP certified project and operation manager. So I have to go on?
Yeah, this is where you give your 50 words.
Okay. So I'm a founder for Expo project. I work in operation, in event and exhibition field, and that's why I built up Expo project.
Okay, so what is one notable thing? What have you done in the past?
So I did a lot. I was working on health field, then I moved to event and exhibition industry.
Oh, okay. What is one notable thing that's different about, so when your colleagues introduce you, what is the one thing that they might mention that really stands out?
So a lot of my friends and even my colleague, I'm the one who's helping them and fix a lot of problems. So I'm solving problems and giving idea.
Okay, what's one specific thing with a number attached that you've done or you're doing?
For a number. So in terms of project, I manage more than 5 projects in a row at the same time. In terms of
Okay,
management,
wait, before you do that, so 5 projects at a time, is there a monetary amount across the projects that you're managing?
I didn't understand it. Like, so
Like is there a money amount or number of people that you're coordinating or
yeah, there is a lot.
managing?
So it was 5 projects, more than 3 vendor, more than 20 employee, organizer, and different stuff in that area. And the budget was about 200, 2,000, 200,000. Oh, how can I say it? 2,000.
You had it,
Oh,
200,000.
Mm.
You can have.
200,000. Okay. Okay. So, what do you think is more impressive, the 20 people or the 200,000?
For me, the people, because
Okay.
yeah,
Then say that. Uh, and then you said you were in event planning, and what was the other thing that you said you were working on?
Expo project.
What is that? Can you tell me more?
From my field, I work on project and operation manager. And the project, the main thing that we face a problem with, and with a lot of company I work with, collect requirement is the main problem for them. So Expoli is it's a project that collects requirement efficiently from the first idea until get you to the POQ quotation and the quotation and the report.
Okay. Um, and what are you working on now?
So I finished the MVP. Now I'm finishing my pitch deck to introduce it to incubator, get a mentor and funding.
Okay. Um, okay. I would like you to follow. I think what do you think when you out of all the things that you've been talking about, what is the most impressive, noteworthy thing about you?
Mm, I'm the person who's always there.
What's that?
I'm always there.
Oh, but in terms of yes, but when you say I'm always there, it's equivalent of saying, "Oh, I'm a very good founder," or "I have a very amazing product." So instead of saying more of these subjective things, try to say something more like give data points about who you are or what you've done, and then so the other person can ask you more questions. Like when you say I'm always there, think about what would I just met you, what would I think or
Okay.
say to that, right? Think about when you say something, always think one step, at least one step ahead, thinking I said something so that the other person can say this or ask this.
Can replay back to me. So I don't know, because I'm just a little bit confused. Now, if I'm introducing myself, I will not introduce my project. But if you ask me, like, the valuable thing about my project is something that I didn't build it by thinking. I built it by being there, being in the field, and face this problem, then get solution out of that.
Okay, then that's something that you can encapsulate and talk about. Because I thought when you said I'm always there, I thought you meant you show up. But
No, I'm
that's
not. I have social
okay. I
anxiety.
misunderstood you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so then then maybe you talk about your experience in managing 20 people across 5 different projects. And you said, I realized that blah, blah, blah. And then you talk about what you do now. Roy, I think it may be more helpful if for the people who are going next, if I can just see their elevator or their networking
Yes.
pitch on the in the chat, and I can just read it and then give some feedback, because sometimes it's hard to catch certain words, and then so I think
Yes.
it would be helpful. Yeah. And people, the reason why I call it a networking pitch and not an elevator pitch, because the elevator pitch is really about it's very people's connotations, or think about what it's very much focused on the company or what they're working on. But it's for the networking pitch, it's more for people to find out who you are. So this is why I gave the examples of if you're at a party, you're at an event, you're at a conference. So it's about introducing yourself and maybe some things about what you're working on. Whereas a elevator pitch, you can think of it as, say you have a booth at a conference, or and you're trying to introduce your company or what your product is to people who are stopping by. So that's kind of the difference. Focus more on the personal and not personal, I would say. Think about how to introduce yourself. It's not about just introducing your company. It's introducing yourself, where part of that is about your company. Okay. Okay,
Okay,
Roy.
so I'm here and I'm trying to look for Elijah. So I asked Elijah if you can paste your chat in yours in the chat, because it's one single flowy chat.
Yes.
And so sometimes it's a bit hard to get to that.
Oh, I see Elijah's.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elijah. My background is a mix of banking, fintech, product, and technology. I've built and scaled platforms supporting billions in deposits and significantly improved how banks onboard customers. Now I'm building Verify IQ to help financial institutions see commercial risks hidden across disconnected systems. I'm looking to meet bankers, banks, and CUSOs interested in solving that problem. Okay, so I would say very good in terms of the language used. I would say for words like significantly, well, first of all, I like to use simple words, short words, because they're just easier, faster to understand. And instead of saying significantly improved, I would say include a number. So when you say supporting billions in deposits, is it 1 billion, 100 billion? Like, give us an idea. And I'm not saying to have too many numbers, but just have a few impactful ones. And now I'm building, and then say my background is a mix of banking, fintech, product, and technology. Banking and fintech is similar. So I would just say it's a mix of banking, because banking is a subset of fintech. And product and technology. Think about why you need to talk about product and technology. It's because you're talking about industry. Can you make it shorter? So banking and okay, yeah, product and technology are a little. Yeah, I would just say banking, product, and technology. I've built and scaled platforms. So if you worked at a very well-known bank or a company, then I would drop it in here, because then it gives you some credibility. Where did you build this for? I assume it's a well-known bank, since it's supporting billions in deposits. And significantly, improved how banks onboard customers. I would say I helped this bank onboard customers, improve their customer onboarding by 5 times or 100 times, whatever that is. So it says significantly improved. Now I'm building Verify IQ to help financial institutions see commercial risks hidden across disconnected systems. Okay, so I understand all of the words that you said, but put together, it takes a lot of mental energy to figure out what that actually means. So, say we're at a party, you tell me that. I'm just going to nod my head and say, okay, very nice meeting you, because I don't understand what you just said. And I'm not going to take the time at a party to put all those words together to figure that out. There's 100 other people there. So think about, how do you talk about it in a way that the other person can immediately understand? Um, and I'm looking to meet bankers, banks, and CUSOs interested in solving that problem. Okay, so if you said I'm looking to meet XYZ interested in solving that problem, I don't know why, like, don't expect the other person to know that whether, I mean, if I am that banker's bank or CUSO, then yes, maybe then I don't know whether I'm trying to solve that problem. But if I'm making a connection for you, then I don't know if that connection I'm introducing you to is interested in solving that problem. So really think about whether that other person knows. So do you have additional questions? Otherwise, you can workshop this a little bit and then come back at the end as we have time to do another round. Elijah? Okay, I assume you got all of that. Roy, who is next?
Next, we have Maroon. Or actually, we also had, yeah. Can you find Maroon just if you scroll a little bit in the chat, Patricia? And for
Yes.
everyone, please look at from the last piece of feedback that I saw, using heavy, structured, long sentences is maybe good for an SAT, maybe good for some exam to show vocabulary, but if you're talking to a room where there's going to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 introductions, it is going to be the key words that ultimately win, and simplicity is the ultimate sophistication so that the words bounce in someone's head.
Okay, I don't see.
Sharbil, Maroon. Let me scroll up. Or Maroon, if you can, share it, unmute yourself and share it in the chat. Because it's possible, because I was mixing between, I see Maroon Khatar. I'm going to put it here in the chat. It looks
Okay,
like
thank
it's about the
you.
right size. It's at the bottom. That's
Okay.
my last message.
Okay, so I see it. Hi, I'm a math instructor and edtech researcher leading Station J Center of Technology. Right now, I focus on linking specialized AI models into smart unified frameworks, building next generation learning systems that dynamically adapt to how people think, solve problems, and master complex ideas. My immediate reaction is, envision you're at a party. Would you say all of this? I hope not. Think about, how do you talk about it in a casual, friendly, vibrant way. You're a math instructor, okay, an edtech researcher. I don't know what edtech researcher actually is. I understand. So I understand all of the words individually, but when you put them together, it's not making sense. Leading Station J Center of Technology. I don't know whether that's a well-known place. Roy, do you know this place? Station J Center of Technology?
Personally, no.
Okay, so if people don't know something, or if if it's not well known, then don't say it, because then you're just wasting words and people will not understand. So, and instead of saying right now, which is 2 words, I would just say currently I focus on, or just say I focus on linking specialized AI models into I don't know what, into smart unified frameworks. Okay. Unified frameworks, okay, but smart is like as opposed to what, right? Think about if someone said, I'm making a great product, and I immediately think as opposed to what? Hopefully you're not saying that you're making a bad product, right? So think about having um more concrete, specific things. So if I held up this thing here, right, I could say this is a thing, or this is a phone, or this is an iPhone. All of them are the same number of words, but you don't want to say this is a thing. You want to say this is an iPhone. Make all of your words count. Building the next generation learning system, I would say don't say next generation. It's gimmicky, and it's not really saying anything that enriches what I'm understanding. Learning systems that dynamically adapt to, okay, so basically you're creating, I don't know, the specialized AI models, you're linking specialized AI models. That part I would make a little bit more accessible, easier to understand for people, that adapts to how, I would say, instead of saying dynamically, which people get, it's not something that I use in everyday English um or speaking. I would say that adapts to how each person thinks, solves problems, and masters complex ideas. Okay. I focus on how AI systems help. No, not can. I would just say helps. I focus on how but AI systems is not tangible. So think about what that word is. I focus on how blah 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 can help people think, how each that that helps people, each person think, solve problems, and master complex ideas. So, instead of saying can't help, just say helps. Just be very active and direct in strong language. Okay. Um, thank you. Who's next?
Perfect. Also, everyone, you can use this training in your communication in emails. Like, not one word is unnecessary. So it's not just verbal communication; it's written communication. The shorter the email, the more it's likely to be read, and take that as a communication principle of كترة الحكي ما بتودي لشي. We say it in Lebanon, لا تحكي. That's too much. So reduce the words, put the words that people understand. The shortest answers win. That was for Sharif a second ago, right? There's one person who we skipped, who was put in the chat, and I transferred to another chat. It's Salam. He's in the last message that I have shared.
So, Roy, what would be helpful is maybe you just start a new chat with me only, that paste
Yeah,
into there, so
I'll
that I
do
can
that.
just focus on that one chat. While you're
Deal.
doing that, let me just tell you a kind of funny story how all of this started. So, as Roy mentioned, I used to be in food. I was a cook for 12 years working. I worked for 3 of the top chefs in the world. And when I go to restaurants, I often hear customers, they'll ask the server questions like, "Oh, how's the steak? Is your fish fresh?" And in my head, I'm just thinking, well, what is the server going to say except, "Oh, it's really good," or "It's very fresh," right? And so when you talk about what you're working on, be really mindful of how that will get interpreted. Earlier when I said, if you said, oh, we're making a great product, or I work with the best team, how does that get interpreted? Because everyone is saying that they work with the best team or they have the best product, right? So really be mindful about what you say and how can you say in a way that is that sounds more objective, that there's actually something that the other person can take away from that.
Patricia, I
So
sent the salam and then Nandita.
yes, I
Everyone,
see it.
note that I'm being dynamic, so if I skipped someone, please send me a private message. I'm trying to go in order. And also, even if Salam is going or Nandita is going, take those learnings to refine your pitch, refine your pitch, refine your pitch. So as we go down Salam's pitch, and Salam, if you can please unmute yourself, everybody needs to be learning as much as Salam is learning, because every piece of feedback that Patricia is giving is universal to everyone to allow us to refine it. So first of all, if it's more than 50 words, refine it already. If you're using complex words, refine them. If you're not starting with the most memorable thing, start with the most memorable thing. And then back over to you, Patricia.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Salam Hassan. I'm a former NASA engineer. Wow. Maybe people will know my name after 100 years for that because I worked on building the life support system for the Mars Living Project. Wow. So now is that the wows were not his his pitch. Now I'm in Saudi trying to build my own projects with end-to-end original technologies to teach others. Okay, the beginning really good. I will say that I would take out the maybe people will know my name after 100 years part because you can then save some words and intention to say more about what you're working on. So I would say I'm Salam Hassan. I'm a former NASA engineer and I worked on building the life support system for the Mars Living Project. And that's a very strong start. People immediately I was like, wow, that's amazing. Right now I'm in Saudi. Why is it important that you know that people know that you're in Saudi? I don't know. Maybe I mean at a glance, I think it's not very important to say that. Why is that more important to know that you're in Saudi? Why is that more important than what you say after that? I don't know. So the question is, why do you need to say it, and why do you need to say that before you say what you're doing now? Okay, everyone, remove the words try or we believe or we think out of your entire vocabulary. I assume that everything that you're saying is what you think, believe, or are trying to do. So just remove that because it's just weakens whatever you say after that, especially if you're saying you're trying. Like Yoda says, don't try, just do, or something like that. So I'm trying to build my own projects. Okay, so don't that these are all throwaway words. Uh, end-to-end original technologies. I don't know what that means. Is it everyone who has a tech company doing original technologies and teach others? Okay, so the last part really need a lot of work in terms of what is a tangible thing that people can explain about you. Like the beginning, I can immediately remember who you are and tell someone else, oh, this is what you did. You worked at NASA, you worked on the life support system for the Mars Living Project. I know that immediately after hearing only one time, but the last part, I cannot say anything tangible about what you're working on. And I would not be able to confidently introduce you past the NASA part. Okay. Nandita, so I'm Nandita. I'm an engineering leader. Okay. Um, who is not a leader? I mean, it's not good to not be a leader. So just if you have a specific position, say that I'm an engineering lead at blah blah blah, or with over 30. Okay, again, we don't care how many years. If it only took you a year to make $1 billion, we don't care what if that only took you a year. So years are not important. Tell us the accomplishment, the specific, memorable, attention-grabbing accomplishment. Across fintech and digital health, mostly working in complex regulated environments. Okay, fintech and digital health, everyone knows that it's complex and regulated, so I don't know. Okay, maybe that's an important thing afterwards, but what I really enjoy is bridging that gap between big architectural goals and what actually takes to deliver reliably in production. Okay, this is really long. I've led platforms handling over 1 billion in daily transactions while maintaining 99.99% uptime at TD Bank. More recently, I've been working on 0 to -1 build of an AI-powered. Okay, everyone, don't say AI-powered now. It's the year 2026, almost the latter part of 2026. Everything is AI-powered. Remove that from your vocabulary. When people say it's AI-powered, I ask, do you use a computer too? Because everything is AI nowadays. Platforms, healthcare platforms. So, platforms is the equivalent of saying this is a thing, so be more specific, focusing on technology, strategy, and designing systems that can guide care decisions while staying secure and compliant. I'm not sure healthcare decisions or guide care decisions. I'm not sure in what area, and maybe give us an example. Right now, I'm intentionally transitioning from building trust in financial systems to building trust in healthcare. Okay, so this is very meandering. It's and when you say I'm intentionally transitioning as opposed to accidentally or out of just really think about the words that you're saying, because the way that you talk and speak, it says a lot about how you think, and it comes across, especially for people who've been um I'll put it in startup environment, especially for investors and people who have been working in startup role for a long time. They immediately get what who you're about. So the words that you say and how you say them immediately tell us how you think. Okay, so and I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but the way that you introduce yourself and even the order of what you start with tells us a lot about what you're focused on. So really pay attention to this. So I would say what's important here is saying that I would start with, "Hi, I am Nandita. I worked in engineering. I'm an engineering lead. Um, I've been an engineering lead, and then if you have certain stats across fintech and digital health spaces, and you can imagine that both of these industries are heavily regulated and require uh, 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 what did you say? It's heavily regulated and require a lot of accuracy or uptime, something like that. I would think about what that word is, and so I know what it takes to build systems that handles a billion in daily transactions while maintaining 99.99% uptime, which is what I did at TD Bank. And I'm currently working on. So when you start a sentence, think about what is the most important words of that sentence and starting with that. So can people still hear me? Roy?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yep, see all the
Okay,
thumbs up.
great. Okay, so then you're saying instead of more recently, because start your sentence with the most important words. I'm building a healthcare and then replace platforms with whatever it is. Focusing on technical strategy. So you need to really workshop that to say very succinctly what it is that you're building. And the last sentence, I don't know why that matters. Because you already said what you're building, so it's inherently that you've transitioned to this new thing. So that's what I would say. Okay, so Felix, I'm a finance and accounting specialist and a certified public accountant with everyone, remove the years. We don't care if you did amazing thing for a year and I said made $1 billion. That's great. We don't care number of years. Across what is diverse industries? I don't know. That's throwaway. My background in rigorous financial management, rigorous as opposed to slackful financial. I don't know. So remove rigorous and audit compliance gives you a unique perspective on the efficiency and possibilities of emerging technologies. I don't know why that's true. Because you are talking about financial audit compliance. And then so why is that giving I don't see how that follows. The logic doesn't follow to why it gives you that unique perspective. I joined the agentic AI training to explore how AI can transform just transforms creative workflows and solve complex problems in both business and art. Okay. When you talk in general, have the goal in mind of what you need to convey, what you need the other person to understand and know. Always when you give that elevator pitch, think about be really intentional. Like in Felix's case, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Felix, but I read this and I'm like, okay, that was a very one-directional thing, and I don't even know what to follow up with that. Like, if I heard you tell me that at a party or event, I'd be like, okay, I don't even know what to ask based on what you said. So really think about, envision when you say something, envision what the other person is going to know or question or want to know more about. It really kind of almost envision that conversation and know what you want them to ask, and then what you'll say after that. For example, if I said, well, in my elevator pitch or my networking pitch, I told you a lot of different things. What I do, where I teach, and what I in leading MIT Angels. So it was kind of my definition of what I call fishing. I put out a lot of different facts out there to see what you bite on. But I was very intentional in thinking through these are the different things, and then that they may ask questions about. I'm not sure what I would ask questions about there. And I don't even know what is the main point of what you wanted to tell me. What is it that you were very intentional in targeting, kind of leading me down to the final point? What was the final point of that?
By the way, everyone, it's really important. You rarely receive super direct and honest feedback. And one of the things that I absolutely loved about Patricia is that she will say what the other person in the room is thinking, but for your own benefit. So take this as gold because it's really important. And not everyone is going to get a chance to kind of give their intro. But the point is not that. The point is that you realize that there's a pattern. Filler words, drop them. Anything that will not be understood by the person in front of you, or drop it. Start with your most impressive thing. End with your ask.
Thank you for that summary, Roy. Yes. You'll find that investors, especially VCs, will rarely, very, very rarely tell you what they're thinking or give you feedback. So But again, I'm just one person, so other people may resonate differently. I'm giving you just my feedback of your networking pitch. Hi, next one is, hi, I'm Jerry Royce. My startup is providing clean water with zero plastics to 2 million consumers in East Africa. I would like to give it a try. I don't know what that means. I will like to give it a try. That's pretty amazing. So I'm Jerry Royce. If you're at an event or party, I would like, it's different if this is a cold email. I would probably just give your first name because it's hard enough to remember people's first names, and then it's much harder to remember people's full name. And my startup is providing clean water with zero plastics to 2 million consumers in East Africa. That's a very strong start. It's immediately gets my attention. I understand what you said, but then I don't know what happened after that, at the end of that. So, I also like it because it's very tangible. It's different. So sometimes I said 50 words, but you don't have to use all 50 words. If you could say it with less, all the better. But whatever you say, it needs to make an impact and have something that the other person sparks that curiosity and conversation. So Jerry, very good job there. I'm not sure about that second sentence. It looks like it was cut off. Mohammed, I'm an architect in UK with over 10 years experience navigating the complexity behind buildings, design, planning, policy, consultants, and delivery. Okay, if you said that to me at a party and you just said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, it's a long list. Try to keep your list to no more than 3 things and have co-run a small design studio in London. I don't know a design studio and what, but I'm an architect in UK. I'm not sure why you said you're in UK. Over again, number of years experience, don't care about that. Navigating the complexity. So this reads like you're struggling with the complexity behind blah blah. So think about your wording there. It's complexity behind buildings. Like simplify all of that. Co-run a small design studio. I mean, that's diminishing yourself. A small design studio. I mean, if you're saying uh, exclusive design studio or just saying I co-run design studio in London doing that specialized. Oh, I'm sorry, there was an additional part. I'm now exploring that knowledge can shape audio a intelligent platform as opposed to a dumb platform. I don't know. So just be mindful. Connecting fragmented project information. What kind of project information? I'm not sure. Is it architecture project information? Helping teams make better decisions and making the planning development. I would take out helping teams make better decisions. I mean, that's throwaway. Making the planning development process simpler. Okay, but instead of simpler, clearer, and smarter, I would just simplify that to improving the okay, I lost it. Improving the making improving the planning or I would simplify that to, because everybody's, at the end of the day, every startup is making things better, cheaper, faster, right? At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. But it's the how or in what specific way. So that was so simpler, clearer, smarter. That's throwaway. So be a little bit, either don't include it and just say working on this, or you could say simplifying the planning and development process, because simplifying then inherently means it's clearer and smarter. So I'm looking for guidance support to navigate this journey. Okay, that While that may be very honest, that sounds like you're a beginner and you don't know what you're doing. So be more specific about your ask in terms of I'm looking for this person, this kind of person to talk to blah blah blah, or I'm looking for this kind of partner to do what. Come from a place of strength because you have amazing experience. But simplify to 50 words, no more than 50 words. Okay. Okay, and then so when you say can shape Ordeo, you haven't introduced Ordeo yet. So if you're at an event or party and telling me this, I'm thinking Ordeo, what is that word? But if you said I founded Ordeo, then I know, oh, it's the name of the company, and then you can move on. I'm Ryle or Riley. CGM. I don't know what CGMA. If most people don't know what CGMA is, then we're just going to be confused, and it's very hurt. It really harms that intro because when I hear that, my mind is searching my brain to figure out what that is. I've missed everything that you said for the next 5 seconds. Okay,
Guys, please
qualified
retain
senior
this,
finance.
what Patricia just said. If you give me a buzzword that I don't understand, my brain is trying to understand what this buzzword and what you are telling me is lost because my brain is gone, and you have accidentally sent me out of to an exit that is not you. So be sure not to include a word that may be familiar to you but not familiar to the person in front of you, because you're talking to the person, so it's not about you, it's about them. Understand their interest rather than your interest, their interest in you.
You really have to, when you talk to people, you really have to get out of yourself and think about who is the other person and what do they know. So I'll talk more about audience considerations tomorrow, but it's very important to think about where you're at and the type of person you might be talking to. Okay, qualified senior finance leader. Again, everybody, well, I think everybody should think of themselves as a leader, which means that unless it's a technical like position, actual position, don't say leader. Operating across private equity backed listed multinational environments. That's a mouthful. I don't like. Okay, including data centers, telecom. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, I partner with CEOs of boards to drive strategic financial performance as opposed to non-strategic. I don't know. Capital discipline. You're giving this is way more than 50 words, and imagine you're at a party because at least if you don't know where you're going to meet that person who becomes a connection, who introduces you to that person that you need to meet. It needs to be really simple words that you just say. You're not trying to get out everything about you and your experience. It's only to make a very quick introduction of yourself so that it sparks interest and curiosity. This sounds like I'm in a class and I'm just inundated. I mean, even when I read this and I have the text in front of me, it's very hard to follow. So imagine, for those who is not Riley, Ryle, think about if you heard this, is someone telling you this at a conference? At what point would you be able to track to? I'm actually lost after starting at the fourth word, right? How much of this would you follow? And then think about it for your own networking pitch. How do you need to update it or adjust it, based on this? And I'm not saying this is terrible, but it's really think about the environment you're in and what you're trying to convey. It's too long. It's so much dense content. Like if you imagine, like think about if you receive a really long and dense email, before you even read it, you're just inwardly dreading that, right? And then once you start reading, you're just like, oh my God, it's just a lot of work. Make it easy for the other person to receive your content. Okay, so I lead group financial functions. I don't know what group financial functions are, with responsibility for financial control. Okay, way too long. Okay. Oh, okay, just very long on this one. I'm going to skip, but just envision yourself at an event or conference. 50 words, simple everyday language, simple sentences. Okay. Next is VJ. Hi, I'm VJ, founder of Vertica. You don't need to, okay, which helps SMBs navigate from software chaos to operational intelligence through our AI operating system platform. Okay, so software chaos to operational intelligence. That sounds good, but I don't know what that actually means. Through our AI operating system platform. I don't know what that is, what specifically that is. I mean, imagine, I don't even know, like, the only tangible thing I can get from this is that you're working with SMBs. Everything else was fluff. Like, I cannot, if I heard this, I would not be able to introduce VJ to someone else or even know what to ask. I would have to ask a lot of questions. What is software chaos to you? What is operational intelligence? And then what is your AI OS platform? I mean, and then if I'm asking all of these words, then I'm probably not going to ask because I will chalk it up to I didn't understand what this person says, and they're not thinking, they don't speak in the same, even at close to level that I would be able to have a conversation with them without every other word, my thinking about what does that mean or asking questions about it.
Now, Patricia, there's
Marianne,
one thing that to notice is that these are taken in order of the earliest pitches that were sent. So a lot.
Roy, you keep cutting in and out. We just missed you for the past
You
5
missed me.
seconds.
Sorry. I was hopefully my connection holds. So what I was gonna suggest is because a lot of the messages here, the intros that I'm sending, are introductions that were shared in the first 20 minutes of the call because we're going in order. But since everyone's improved their pitches quite a lot, so I'm sure that VJ probably would pitch it differently now that he's heard what he's had in the last hour. So what I would recommend is to go with the next two pitches, Marianne and Mark, and this would give us another 20 minutes. For everyone, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take a while Patricia goes through Marianne's and Mark's, because right now we're starting to see that the feedback is starting to repeat itself. In the chat, I'm going to send the instructions that Patricia has shared. So everyone, all 200 of us, pause for a second with the intros. I'm going to take over the chat for a moment, put all the notes, and I'm going to ask you guys, if I missed anything, put in another piece of feedback that Patricia has said that I may have missed in very short words. And then once we have that, review your introduction, improve your introduction with that feedback, and then once it's there, share it. We are not going to go by first order. We're just going to go by the ones that strike the most, and I'll paste the ones that are most striking to Patricia. So if everything follows the rules under 50 words, it could be 20 words, it's okay, but as long as it's under 50. And the instructions, I'll pass them to Patricia, and then we'll start to see how things are improving at the end. And what we're gonna do, for those of you who don't get a chance to get to review it, we have the Note Trade Taker, we have AI, which can help us cover the rest. So what we could do is just have it based on the feedback that we gain from Patricia, give everybody their piece of feedback. We're gonna try to do that because we like to do things workshopping with that feedback. So right now, Patricia, you've got Marianne's and then Mark's. And then
Yes,
for
so
everyone, I'm
Roy,
going to put the notes. Yes.
I was wondering, did any questions come in through chat?
It's a very long chat, so it's I can see some
Okay.
and a lot of hands raised where most of the questions may be.
Yes, so everyone, if you have questions, drop it into chat. Even if you asked previously, please drop it into chat so that we have all the questions right now. And then while I go through Marianne's, then Roy can look at to see whether there are questions that I need to answer. So hello everyone. Head of investment operations with 15 plus years of experience in capital markets, securities operations. Okay, I lead teams, drive operational excellence, and manage strategic projects that enhance efficiency and control. Passionate about transforming complex operations into streamlined, scalable solutions. Okay. It's very fluffy. Think about what I can actually follow up with. Imagine, Marianne, that you're telling me this, but I don't know, there's nothing tangible I can really get from what you just said that I can talk to you more about. Right? So, for example, that last person who talked about working at NASA, I would have a lot of questions about that. Or the person doing the the water with zero plastics. I would have a lot of follow-up questions because they're very tangible that I could actually ask questions about. What you said there, I don't know. Everything was very fluffy, not tangible. Okay, so I'm Mark Bessel, head of marketing and communication. So instead of saying head of, say if you have a title, say that, because head of marketing and communication at Qatari Investors Group, overseeing 12 entities. What does 12 entities mean in terms of something tangible like revenues or number of people or something? I don't know. I don't know how big of an entity that is, so I don't know how is the 12 entities really what that means. With nearly 17 years, okay, I won't talk. I built an in-house operation, saving approximately 250 monthly. Don't say approximately. I mean, just say to this. Just say this inspired trademark AI studio. This inspired me to start trademark AI studio, simplify marketing creativity from idea to ideation, all in one creative platform. I don't think you need to say the last part, all in one creative platform. I assume because it falls under your new company that you'll somehow make it streamlined and work better, faster, cheaper. But simplify marketing. It doesn't. Your first sentence in the last the transition there is not followed. I understand you're head of marketing and communication, and you built up in-house operations, saving. So your transitions from the first sentence to second to third do not follow. Okay, you said you're head of marketing and communications, and with people like, and then you say I built an in-house operation doing what? Because you talk about this is leading you down to what you're currently working on, but your second sentence is not linking that first sentence in the third. You built it in-house operation doing what that saves this much monthly, and this is and so with that, this inspired me to start this to simplify the marketing creativity from. So really think about how you're kind of leading a person down this narrative of how one sentence leads to the next to a final thing that you're saying. Okay, so Roy, are there any questions?
Yes, absolutely, and there's some very, very good ones. So I'm going to start with, and Siyama, you can see here how I'm going to reduce your sentence into something much shorter. And that is also like, way to explain that. So how can I position myself so recruiters and investors see my multidisciplinary background as a strength rather than me being too broad?
To what?
Broad.
Broad. Okay. So I'm currently on my third career. And my first career, I was at Accenture for 10 years, and then I switched careers to cooking. I was in restaurants working as a cook for 12 years. And then from there, I immediately started teaching at Stanford on pitching. So these are three very broad and different careers. And the way that I position it is I thought about what are the fundamental skills and experiences that I have that make me that for me that stands out, and that's across all of the three that I show. For me, I show my excellence from MIT to Accenture to working for the top 3 chefs in the world to teaching at Stanford. So I think about that, and that's for me, that's my brand about I always aim for the best, and I've been able to demonstrate that in all 3 of my careers. And then I talk about the experience I had and skills I developed through those 3 that carry me for anything that I do. So, for example, I'll talk more about this tomorrow, considering the audience, considering the other side, how so in consulting, I'm always thinking about the client. In hospitality and cooking, I'm always thinking about the guest. And then in working with startups, it's always thinking about the investor or the customer. But that skill is the same through all 3 careers. So I really position about what is the first principles or the foundational skills experience that I have that allows me to do well in whatever I do. And that's how I've kind of positioned myself. So you have to think about that for yourself. What is very different or attractive or differentiating about you through all of these different experiences and positioning it that way. You have to play around with it. It's not easy because it forces you to really think much more fundamentally about this and thinking outside the box and creatively and flexibly and nimbly.
Nice.
Yes, Roy.
We have, so everybody, the instructions that I've shared, and Patricia, let me know if they're off, because I've got 5 questions I'm going to go to you, but if someone doesn't have a question, these are the networking pitch rules, that at least what I remember. Under 50 words, if you're down to 20, no problem. You can go well under 50, but never above. Start with the most memorable fact, and end with a simple ask. Use short, simple sentences. Skip all filler words. Skip all words that may not be understood.
Yes. And I can share this again. If people want to take a screenshot or anything. Okay. So we'll go off. So Roy, what were the other questions?
Yep. So, I'm not going to go in order. I'm going to go with what sounds like what I think most people have as a question and most people struggle with. So when pitching to recruiters or to investors, where is the ideal balance between using modern tech buzzwords to show you're current versus using simple language to show real business value? And how do you avoid sounding either overly hyped or too modest?
Yes. So I think for the first part, I tend to like simple words, like Richard Feynman, which is a Nobel Prize winning physicist. He talks about simplicity. I like to use simple words and simple sentences, but I use my experiences to convey how I've worked in current technologies. And so I hope that answers your first question. So it's really, I need the other person to immediately understand what I'm saying and what is special or different about me. So that's why I like to use the simple words. And then if I'm using more, then I use experiences, the descriptions of my job experiences to speak for itself. What was the second part about being modest and overly hyped? If you're asking that question, I'm assuming that you probably are already being very modest, because people who hype themselves a lot don't even think about that. And two is, I don't know if you're familiar with the term imposter syndrome, where you're thinking, oh, I was lucky to get into the room, or I shouldn't be here, or I don't deserve this, or whatever that is. And you need to think about, just make it more factual and data based. So think about what you've done. For example, I say I went to MIT. That's irrefutable. Am I bragging? Maybe to some people will think I'm bragging, but it's a fact. Or I've worked for 3 of the top chefs in the world. That's a fact. And by my saying these things, this is just me stating facts about me. And I say them because if I'm going to an event or a conference and introducing myself, I need the other person to remember me and know who I am and know that I'm a worthy person to talk to. That's why I'm saying these things. Was it uncomfortable in the beginning? Absolutely. But I had to do it because otherwise, why, if you're going to just be modest and not stand out, then what was the point of you even making effort to go to the event, conference, or making that outreach? Make it count and do a good job of it when you do make that effort. Yeah, Roy, what's next?
Yep. Everyone, the pitches are getting better and better and sharper and crisper. Keep them coming. Patricia, so let's say you've got multiple accomplishments and you have a short pitch. This is a question from Alan. How do you decide which founder accomplishments belong in the short pitch and what should be left for follow-ups?
Yeah, so for my own, I think about, I wrote down all of my accomplishments and thought about, when I came up with my own pitch, I kind of prioritized it into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 or later. So I thought about, okay, what do I need people to know immediately about me, that with the understanding maybe they'll never talk to me again, or maybe that we won't continue the conversation. So these are the things that I have to get out. And if they say and talk to me, here's the tier 2 things I need to get out. So and then I thought for the tier 1, I thought about what's different about me, but what's applicable to what I do now. So that's why I don't talk about my cooking career as a tier 1 thing, but I do mention it. I work it into the tier 2 because that makes me different and memorable, but it's not important enough that they know that immediately. So I really thought about my tier 1. What are the things that they need to know about me that still stand out, that they know that I'm an exceptional person in what I currently do, and this is what I do. And then these are the things that I need to convey. And then the tier 2, there's some facts there then that I work in, that I kind of like a politician. When you ask if you're at like a political debate, talk about the one thing and then they go into their own talking points. So I try to work. There are some things that I try to work in as the conversation continues that I work in to make me more memorable or different. And then the tier 3. So I kind of do it by tiers. Okay, Roy.
One more question, and there are two that I'm going to combine into one from Alan and Salam. Isn't it a bit too direct to tell a person that you just met about what you need?
About what you need?
Yeah, like your ask
Okay.
at the end.
For your ask? I don't think so. Um, if you're saying, well, I need $5 million, that's very direct. It's about asking for help. So I think it's okay to ask for help. And if you don't ask, you don't get. And I didn't learn this until later in my career, but if you don't ask, you're not going to get, for sure.
Mm.
Okay, so if you don't ask, you don't get. So I rather ask. And I'm not going to say, if I'm a founder, I'm trying to raise $5 million, I'm not going to say, I need $5 million, but I'm going to say, I'm currently fundraising, looking for investors, early stage investors investing in this space. And that's perfectly reasonable, and that's not a hard sell or a hard ask.
Also, everybody remember that if you're in a networking event, ask yourself, why are you here? There's a why. Why you're not at home or you're not watching Netflix. And that why is, everybody has a why while they're going to an event, you know? And so that you can reverse engineer that and just kind of realize that many people have whys, and that's the matching of whys that helps.
Yeah, with anything that you do, if you're not going to give it your best effort, then don't bother, right? Why are you doing it? Make it count. If you're going to a networking event, make it count.
Yes. I'm about to send the next question, but I'm just gonna re-put in the chat those pitch rules that I shared and that Patricia has shared as well. But here they are. If you can see them, if you know that they're there and you're working on your pitch, please leave a thumb up or a heart. Nice. We're seeing some. Perfecto. Okay, we're on the same page. Love this. Let's just give it another 10 seconds while I find the last question. The introductions are much, much stronger. Here's a
Great.
question from Manal. Hey Patricia, I'm just wondering, if someone is transitioning from alternative health to cybersecurity, should you mention your previous job since you don't have much experience in the job that you're just transitioning to?
I would say talk about it with the lens of how it's applicable to cybersecurity. So if it was alternative health, what aspects of alternative health, or what were your accomplishments there that's applicable to what you do now? And if it's so different, I would say, if you had really amazing accomplishments in alternative health, then start with alternative health. But I would probably play around with two formats. I would start by talking about cybersecurity, and then saying, okay, this is based on what I learned and I was able to, I would really dampen the focus on the alternative health, but focus on the accomplishments or what you learned and did in alternative health, and then frame it in the cybersecurity efforts.
Perfect. I think we've covered most of the questions. And by the way, we've got another 13 minutes, so we can go into the last phase, or I'll share to Patricia some of the intros. Please leave your own introduction under 50 words following these rules in the chat. Tomorrow's session, just because before we go, is going to be of a different nature. So here, just like how we like to do things, everybody just stay on your toes. build, learn from each other. You're continuously doing. But tomorrow there's going to be a pitch. So it's, let's say you're invited and your ask gets, you
Roy.
hello?
So I'll take over
Yeah,
from Roy.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
we missed you for the last 5 seconds.
Electricity cut, as you can see. The background disappeared. Just take over, Patricia. I'll send you the chats, the
Yes.
intros in your chat. But yeah, if you want to maybe give a quick brief of what we're going
Yeah, so tomorrow I will be giving the talk about venture ready pitching. So coming up with your pitch. So explaining to you what's the ultimate goal of pitching and giving you some definitions, talking through the main terms and what VCs and investors are looking for, audience considerations, and then going to more the nuts and bolts and mechanics about the pitch deck with the framework to use. I'll go through some examples of the different types of pitch decks or slides, what works well, what doesn't. I'll be kind of analyzing why this one worked well, why this one didn't work so well. I'll be walking that through. And then so it's really more around the pitch. If in the pitch, when I talk about pitching, to me it's a flavor of a presentation. You're pitching, whether you're pitching to investors in a sales pitch, recruiting pitch, they have different goals, but the framework and the approach is the same. The method that you use is the same. So I'll be talking more about in general, thinking about how you're presenting and why, being very intentional about why you're presenting, what is the main goal of that, and then going from there. So I hope all of you are able to join in for that. And then with tomorrow we'll also be doing a couple of live evaluations of people's pitches that submitted from the audience.
Patricia, find
Oh, new
inside your chat.
pitches.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Salam. I'm a former NASA engineer. I worked on building the life support systems for the Mars Living Project. I'm working on building watch that can connect people traveling together without need for internet, Wi-Fi, network, or satellite. Okay. So that one I would very good. Next iteration, I would condense that. Hi, I'm again. Don't include your last name unless it's a cold email. Just use your first name only. I'm Salam. I a former I worked at I'm a former NASA engineer working I so I would say I'm a former NASA engineer. I was a former engineer at NASA working on building building the life support system for the Mars Living Project. I'm building, don't say I'm working on, again, that's throwaway. I'm building a watch that connects people. I don't know what that means, traveling together as opposed to traveling separately. I don't know why you're saying that. Without that doesn't need without need for internet, Wi-Fi. I would just say without need for internet, mobile, or satellite connections. Yeah, but very good next iteration. I'm Mohammed, founder of multiple startups. I mean, guys, don't say multiple. It's a if you founded one startup versus 10 startups, that's a very different story. And immediately I'm thinking, okay, did any of your startups exit? Did you sell it? Did it IPO? What happened? So don't just founder of multiple startups. No, it's like when Roy introduces himself, he's going to say, I'm a two-time exited founder, something like that. So that tells you very short that tells you a lot of things about him. He's a two-time founder, and that he's had previous exits. That's like it's like the top percent of founders. So be really specific. I've led 60 plus engineers, managed more than $1 million in capital. Doing what? Deliver AI platforms for government. I don't know. AI platforms means a lot of different things. It's kind of saying I delivered a thing for government. I don't know why you said that though. For why is it important that you said government worked with me? That's a lot. Simple sentences, people. Try to have really simple sentences. Like try not to I don't have a word count for you, but maybe like 8 to 10 words, no more per sentence. Worked with what's a major brand? I don't know what that actually means. Generating 19, again, so many numbers here, 19 plus million in GMV, and now building Bark and AI growth. Okay, agent platform. I don't know what AI growth agent platform means. Turning conversations into sales, that's very fluffy. So you better than the previous pitches, but be really mindful. Just have one or two numbers, but make them count. Like multiple startups, you should have had a number there. 60 plus engineers, 1 million. That's 1 million. I don't know. It's not a lot for like if I'm in the US. 1 million doesn't sound like a lot. So so make the numbers count. Anyway, okay. Riley, okay, great. Hi, I'm Riley. I led finance in Fortune 500 private equity listed companies. Okay, so just that one sentence. Just say I've led finance in out of Fortune 500 private equity and listed companies. I would say Fortune 500 is the most exclusive. So just say that, and then take out the other stuff, because if you were at a Fortune 500 company, that means a lot more than the other things. It's more exclusive. I help businesses understand their numbers. Okay, that's kind of throwaway. Improve cash flow. Okay, that's throwaway. Control costs and support growth. So the second sentence, there's nothing tangible that I can actually understand what you've done. I'm now looking for my next finance leadership role. I love to hear about businesses looking for someone to strengthen finance and support growth. What kind of company is not looking to strengthen finance and support growth? I don't know. I would hope that most companies are. So be really specific. Instead of I'm now looking for
Everybody,
my
this
next
is the most
finance
important
leader.
feedback. Like, this is the most important piece of feedback that everyone should take. Don't just look at your pitch. If it's in your pitch, no. If it's in your resume, no. Get rid of anything that is not very quantifiable, simple sentences that can stick. It's about, so even like in this, everybody review your sentences and remove unnecessary fodder words, because they are not going to make you memorable.
Right. And then to say I'm looking, it's like the equivalent of saying I'm looking to join a good company, as opposed to what? Think about what it's actually saying. Okay, not to put you. This is a safe space, people, and I'm not. This is just my immediate thoughts about the pitch. I built NutriBytes, an AI project that helps people with diabetes and food allergies make safer food choices. Okay, so I'm Najwa, a computer science student at university. I'm known for leading teams and paying attention to detail. As I'm starting my career, what advice would you give me to grow and improve? I don't know if you ask me that. I don't know how. envision you saying that to someone. It's kind of putting the other person on the spot. They just met you. I would think, I just met you. I don't know you, so I don't know what advice I would give based on what you just said. So just be mindful. Think about how the other person would react. So I built NutriBite. I would say helping people with diabetes and food allergies to make safer food choices. I would, instead of say I'm Najwa, say that in the beginning. I'm a computer science student at this. Instead of known for leading teams and paying attention to detail, I would take that out or replace it with something much more tangible. As I'm starting my career, I would say that last sentence, just rework it so it's more accessible. Think about how the other person could react, actually give you from that. Okay. Elias, as a person with a disability, I created a project with Kans to empower PWDs across Lebanese society. Combined with my background as a business manager, owner, auditor, and IT expert, I use practical tech and financial precision to streamline operations. Great. Okay, guys, I said this earlier. If you're going to have a list, try to have no more than 3 items. It's too hard to keep track of more than 3 items. So I would say as a person with disability, okay, I created a project to empower PWDs with across Lebanese. Why is it important to say you created a project with Kans as opposed to I created what? Like I would say I created blah blah blah, empowering PWDs across Lebanese society. And then in your second sentence, what is more important with your background, or you're using practical tech and financial precisions to streamline operations, blah blah blah. I would say it's probably the second part. So always, all of your sentences should start with the most important words and the most important part, because people attention declines over the course of what you say and also for each sentence. So the first words of your sentences should be the most important words. So think about what is more important. But in line with that, the second sentence, I'm not sure. The main takeaway I got was you have a diverse background of different disciplines, and I don't know what you're building exactly. So, okay. And then you said to create real lasting opportunities. I don't know, as opposed to throw away temporary opportunities. I don't know. It be specific on what it is. I'm a web developer who builds healthcare apps for diabetes. I would just say I'm a web developer building. I'm a developer building. Why is it important that you're saying web? So I'm a developer building healthcare apps for diabetes. Okay, again, don't tell me the number of years. I mean, I guess it's okay. I spent the last 10 years in healthcare helping 3,000 people recover from injuries. What kind of injuries, and manage chronic conditions? It's not, your transition from the first sentence to the next sentence is a little bit hard to follow. And especially if you're talking, you need to make sure that you have very clear transition from one sentence to the next so that people can actually follow and understand where this is going and understand the progression of what you're saying. Frustrations from managing my own diabetes led me to build Shelby, an app that gives diabetics who use injections the same treatment algorithm that insulin pump users enjoy. Okay, that's pretty good. I would say frustrations for managing my own diabetes. While there's that personal story, I would probably put that second because what you're doing is pretty interesting. So I would put that second, if at all. Um, but it's also it doesn't flow properly because you already introduced what you're doing and then you say what you did and then you go back to what you're doing. It's kind of choppy that way. So either talk about everything that you're doing now based on what you did before, or talk about what you did before and then talk about what you're doing now. You don't like kind of go back and forth. Okay. So we're at time. Were there any other questions, Roy?
No, these were the main questions, and love to start on time, love to end on time. Patricia, thank you so much for your time. Tomorrow, like we said, is going to be a very different session. It's going to be learning how, like, to professionally pitch. There's going to be a lot of slides, so be sure to dial in on time. We're going to go back to this Zoom room. We're not going to use Google Live Meet. So we're going to come back to this Zoom room. I'm going to put it in the chat one more time. This is recorded. It will be shared with everyone, and we're going to send an email to everyone to say, hey, this is the Zoom room for tomorrow, instead of trying to use Google live stream. So thank you very much, everyone. Feel free to hop off. We'll dial in exactly tomorrow at the exact same time. At 6 p.m. GMT +3 Beirut Riyadh time, which is 5 p.m. European Central Time, Central European Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time in the US, East Coast, and 8 a.m. West Coast. Patricia, thank you so much for dialing in this early this morning. Thank you for your time. That was not easy to have, a live working session on how to introduce yourselves. We'll put together an article with this and take everybody's pitches. Hopefully you'll be able to, we've learned a few things to be able to impress when you meet someone at a networking event so that you can be more memorable.
Thank you so much, Roy. Thank you, everyone, for coming today and having the courage to put your pitch out there for evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Patricia.
Thank you. Shall we stop the recording?
Yeah.